The flat 3-needle bind-off works essentially the same way as a regular 3-needle bind-off in that you're bringing together two edges of live stitches. However, where a regular 3-needle bind-off has a distinct right side and wrong side because the purl bumps will appear on one edge of this line of knit stitches that constitute the bind-off, the flat 3-needle bind-off obscures the purls from the right side of the work. It achieves this by working a knit stitch for the front loop and a purl stitch for the back loop. So to get started, even if you're just starting your 3-needle bind-off, you need both needles parallel to each other. Your working needle is going to go into the stitch on the front needle, knitwise, like this, and enter the stitch on the back needle purlwise, like this. So, to get started, you need to have your working yarn positioned between the two needles because it's going to need to be in the front of the work to purl on the back needle. So I'm going to go into the first stitch on the front needle, knitwise, and then I'm going to go into the first stitch on the back needle purlwise. I'm going to purl that stitch on the back needle and pull it off. And then I'm going to bring that stitch that I just worked through the stitch on the front needle. And then I'm going to pull it off the needle. Now, since I've already started my 3-needle bind-off, I'm going to slip this first stitch on the right-hand needle over the second stitch. Pass it over to bind it off. Now I'm going to repeat to create the next stitch to bind off. So I'm going to put the working yarn between the two needles, put the tip of the right-hand needle into the first stitch on the front needle knitwise, and then into the first stitch on the back needle purlwise. I'm going to purl that stitch on the back needle, pull it off the needle, pull that stitch through the stitch on the front needle, and pull it off the needle. Then I'm going to pass the first stitch on the right-hand needle over the new stitch. Now I'm going to show you how to work the bind-off across distorted stitches from a German short row. This is a distorted stitch here on the front needle and here on the back needle. You're going to work them as one stitch, just as you would if you were resolving them in regular knitting. So I'm going to go through both loops of this distorted stitch on the front needle knitwise. The first step, of course, is to have the yarn between the needles. So I'm going to go through both loops knitwise, and on the back needle, I'm going to go through both loops purlwise. I'm going to purl the stitch on the back needle, pull it off the needle, bring the stitch through to knit it on the front needle, pull it off, then I'm going to pass the first stitch over. And that's it. A nice, clean, flat 3-needle bind-off.